Hello, welcome to All Things Small Business, where we talk all things small business here at the Small Business Spot on YouTube. And as you know, we started doing it brown sugar style. And I will explain what that means when I come back. In the meantime, if you would please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll be right back in 10 seconds. Hello again. I'm Denise Roberts. Welcome back to All Things Small Business. I know I said that we're doing things brown sugar style, and what that means is you do remember the movie called Brown Sugar. Great movie, great theme. And that's the style of how this interview is going. I am absolutely in love with the topic of entrepreneurship. Owning a business, running a business. I'm fascinated with everything that has to do with that. And so I decided that we are going to interview all of our guests, brown sugar style, meaning we're going to talk about entrepreneurship as if it is a love affair. Now, if my guest is married, we're not on a virtual date, but if he's not, we are on a virtual date. And so usually a lot of times it's going to be a virtual date unless it's a married man or a woman, because I don't go that way. Okay, so I'm going to bring up my guest. His name is Vennard Wright. I've known him for quite some time. During the Rashern Baker administration, who used to be the county executive for Prince George's County, Maryland, he was the chief information officer for Prince George's County. I got that right. Vennard, right? Yes. Okay. And he's affiliated with the Bi-County Business Roundtable as an advisory board member, along with myself. And he is also the CEO of a company called Pervista AI. So please welcome my married guest, Vennard Wright.
Pleasure to be with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for joining me on a Friday night at 8:00 to do a virtual podcast. I've been getting some feedback about whether or not I should do it on a Friday night anymore, but we'll deal with that after this one. So I really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, good. So let me just start with, and you answer these questions, the way that you see fit, right? Yep. Because I want to know about your background, but I want to know, when did you fall in love with entrepreneurship?
Okay, so I'll start with my background and then the latter question. So I've been in IT now for about 30 years. So I used to serve as the Chief Technology Officer for EDS, which, for people who may not know, was Ross Perot's company. I was also Director of Technology for Hillary Clinton during her Senate reelection in 2008 presidential campaign. As you mentioned, Denise, I was the CIO for Prince George's County for 6.5 years. I was CIO for WSSC Water for another 2.5 years. And before I started my next company, I was CIO and VP of Operations for Ironbow Technologies, which is a $2 billion, mostly federal contractor. And as far as my love affair with business, it actually goes back about 25 years or so to when I opened a hair salon with my wife, Janelle. So we owned a hair salon, we owned a day spa, and then I started a graphics and web design company back in 1999. But that was a little spotty because I spent most of my time going after accounts receivable. So I needed more steady income, which is when I went to go and collect a paycheck every 2 weeks. And it ended up working out well for me. So I made the ill-advised decision, some would say, to start a business during the pandemic. So I started Wave Welcome in 2020. And that's an IT and cyber managed services company. And then I started the company that I'm running now, Pervista AI, in 2023. And I'm pretty sure we'll get into that more, but that's really where I am from the business front.
Okay. You said a lot there. So it's safe to say that your expertise is IT. And did you discover that after The hair salon business?
So I discovered it. So I got married pretty early. I got
Okay.
married at 22, and I just graduated from University of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is my wife, who by trade is a cosmetologist,
Mm-hmm.
looked at me, and she was making at the time probably about $90,000. I was making 45 because I was doing finance and contracts administration.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Okay, I'm making twice as much money as you, and you have the degree. So what's wrong with this picture?" And I just got into IT to make more money than her. I didn't know I was that good at it at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up that I really was good at it. I
Mm-hmm.
was always interested in IT. I was always interested in the way things work, and I could see that that's where industry was headed. So it was the most logical field for me to get into. And like I said, it just took off from there.
Okay. So, okay, what was your major in college?
Business administration. So I didn't even study IT.
Okay.
I just had a propensity for it.
Okay. 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 So, would you say that you love IT?
I wouldn't say, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So when you take a look at the way the world works,
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, a lot of it really can be solved by technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I am really, what I love is finding solutions to problems.
Okay.
And for me, a lot of times that can be solved by applying some latest technology, some innovation, but in a lot of cases, it's not technology that solves the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So my approach tends to be, number one, I want to understand what an organization is looking to accomplish. And then once I understand what the organization is looking to accomplish, my goal is then to see if there's something they're doing that could be done differently.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, we do that. Then from there,
Mm-hmm.
it's, do you have the right people? Are the people working the right way? And the last thing I do is really apply technology.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I am fascinated by technology. I'm certainly interested in where technology is headed, and especially AI.
Mm-hmm.
But really more interested in how we can leverage technology to solve the challenges that we see around us.
Okay. Excuse me. I need you to help me understand something. Maybe I can fall in love with IT. I doubt it because I'm really not math and science kind of person. But so your company now is centered around AI?
It is. It is.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So, and because I on my last show, I had a friend on who said some of the same things that you said
Yep.
about I like solving problems. So I like to debate about this point here, right? You don't love. So does that mean that you don't love IT?
Well, the reason I don't love IT is because I served as a CIO for so long. So I would argue with people and say that in an organization, a CIO is probably the toughest position. And I'll tell you why. So you have a CEO who, of course, is responsible for driving an organization forward. But from an IT perspective, the top IT person is responsible for really making those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned before, a lot of times the challenge with an organization is not necessarily related to IT. So you can suggest changes around IT, but don't necessarily have the power to solve those challenges. So I was a little burned out when it came to being a CIO, which is part of the reason I made that leap into starting
Mm-hmm.
my own company.
Uh-huh.
So yes, I am very good at IT, but I've had a love-hate relationship with IT at the same
It's a
time.
love-hate relationship.
Absolutely.
That sounds like something very familiar, or that you hear about a lot these days, and not just in their professional lives.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where I was going with that, just help me understand a little bit here, because the last two guests that I've had are both the topic has just been technology in nature, right?
Mhm.
And you're familiar with Terry Spigner.
Yep.
I need you to help me understand a little bit about the difference between the industries within technology?
Absolutely.
And let me just ask you this question. Is IT in the technology industry, or is technology in the IT field?
So I would say that IT is a subset of technology.
Okay.
So with IT, the way that we look at IT, it tends to be more of the underpinnings of an organization,
Mm-hmm.
the networks, the servers, the cloud, all of those different infrastructure components,
Mm-hmm.
which is why a lot of times cybersecurity is separated from IT, because IT tends to be the operational, tactical, day-to-day things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so a lot of organizations, for example, outsource their support for email, for their phones, all of those different things. That tends to be IT. Now, you could also make the argument that there are things that fall outside of IT, and people tend to blend those together. And a better way of referring to what an organization is looking for from a technology perspective would be to call it business technology. And the reason I say that is because you are at that point starting to include the way
Mm-hmm.
that an organization functions, and not going to go too deep into that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, there's a lot of interest in things like artificial intelligence. So
Yeah.
artificial intelligence tends to be even outside of information technology in terms of the way that people approach it. So there are lots of different things. And to answer your question about the different verticals inside of technology,
Mm-hmm.
certainly I mentioned cybersecurity. That is one. Then there is coding, like software development. That's another vertical. You have things like data analytics, which is making sense of all of the information that an organization creates.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned what people are doing day to day to support an organization in the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could have program management and business analysis, which is really understanding how to move projects forward and pull requirements from organizations. So, like when you were over in supplier diversity, if you wanted a new application, in
Mm-hmm.
business analysis and project management, it's my job to come and talk to you to understand what it is you're looking to accomplish, put that together, and then manage the implementation of it to make sure it's going the way that you want it to. So there are lots of different things that you can do inside of technology, but a lot of it would not be considered to be stereotypical IT by definition.
Okay. So is AI IT? No,
Technology, I'll say it's technology.
it's
It is
technology.
technology, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, I can see why you love all that stuff. Okay. So would you say that did you choose your business, or did your business choose you?
I would say my business chose me. And I'll
Mhm.
tell you what happened. So the reason I started Pervista, well, the reason Pervista was born, I wouldn't say I started Pervista. It was born, it did choose me, is because you may remember in May of 2023, there was a high profile incident where 3 teenagers ran into a school bus in Prince George's County and tried to shoot another teen, the infamous Baby K case. So when that happened, Aisha Braveboy, our state's attorney, reached out and we had
Mhm.
lunch. And her question was, what could technology do to keep that from happening again in the future? So at that point, I really did a lot of research just to see what was possible, what existed on the market, and what we could own in Prince George's County to solve that challenge. Because, if we're being honest, firearms are certainly an issue, not just here, but
Yeah,
across the country.
across
So
the
at that
country.
point,
Mhm.
that's where we went out and we developed an application that uses artificial intelligence to analyze video streams from surveillance cameras to detect firearms. When a firearm is detected, then we can automatically notify police for dispatch. And so the goal there is to cut down on the number of active shooter events that happen in schools,
Mhm.
hospitals, and other public places. But that's where I would say that there was an opportunity to apply technology. It's not necessarily something that I set out to do, but I did see an opportunity for technology to solve a challenge that it confronts a lot of people across the US.
So Pervista is the result of a problem that we're having here in Prince George's County.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Okay. Okay. And when did you start working on this?
So started in May of 2023. So at that point, we worked pretty aggressively, and by any measure, we did get the platform developed quickly. But a big part of that is because I used to be a software developer myself. So I certainly know how to accelerate the process. I've implemented, as you know, very large projects over and over again. So I just knew how to get the project done quickly.
So there you go again with that terminology. So software development, that's a subset of technology, or is that inside of IT?
It's inside of IT. So it's coding.
Okay.
So it's coding, just
It's
writing.
coding.
Yep. So creating
So
applications.
you know how to code?
I do know how to code.
That's like a computer science major, right?
It is. I mean, people do go to school to learn it.
Because I tried that for like one semester in college.
Here's the thing.
I didn't get a degree.
I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
I didn't like it either. It's just
no, you know what? I really liked computer science. I have an issue. I don't know what it is, but I could not write the program within the hour of a test. I could learn it, but I wasn't fast enough. Yeah. And I'm assuming you got to be fast in this industry.
No, I would say take your time and do it right.
Okay, well, I wasn't passing the tests. So
Yeah.
because I needed additional time because it was too technical in nature. And then at that time where I, tried that, I was at the, I'm a Howard Bison. I graduated from Howard Bison, but I can claim, because there it is. I can claim University of Maryland too, because I was there for 2 years. And then I think it was my first year that I decided I was going to try computer science. No, I don't think it was that. You know what? I think I tried architecture.
Okay.
I tried computer science, aerospace engineering. And, it took me 2 years to realize that whatever I was going to get a degree in was not going to be heavily emphasizing math and science. Yeah.
I get it. So here's the thing. I didn't like math either. So I probably, my grades would have been much higher if I could have graduated without taking math. But because I was in business administration, I had to take a lot of it, but doesn't mean
but you know what? University of Maryland makes their math a lot harder than it has to be. Like I had the professors who were the authors of the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I might have crossed paths with some of them, but, I did just enough to be able to pass. And, I'll tell you, I don't know any of that math now.
Yeah. Okay. And and that's the thing. Do these coders use math?
No. So I can tell you, so depending on,
we're on a totally different subject now, but
no, it's a good subject. It's a good subject. It actually is a useful subject because, well, with artificial intelligence, there is a little more math involved because you're building algorithms, so there are calculations. So it does help to be good at math if you are working in artificial intelligence. So to that point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because artificial intelligence, people are afraid of the impact that it's going to have on the world long term. And I would say that one of the biggest impacts is not the jobs that it's interrupting or changing, disrupting, but that people of color really are not involved in being AI developers. And a big part of that is because what's necessary for a person to be an AI developer is a math foundation. And there is a fear of math. Certainly in the Black community, a lot of times we have some very good mathematicians, but we know that the reading and math test scores in minority communities could be a lot higher.
We have, can you see, wait a minute, how come I don't think I can see the band user. I'm looking at a comment and I don't know where he or she is commenting from. So you can't see it on the screen for whatever reason, but it says, how does IT security companies look at AI and how are they keeping us safe? Before we get to that question, I want to, I just want to move on, just talk a little bit about, because this whole AI discussion, that's a whole show, it seems like,
It is. It
right?
absolutely is. Yep.
Yeah. So, and we'll get there. We'll get there. But let me just ask you this question. So, is your business, when it comes to your life, the main chick or the side chick?
Side chick.
It's the side chick? Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Business is side chick.
Who's
So
the who's the main chick? Who's the main chick?
the main chick is my wife.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
the main chick is my wife.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So when I moved over to take over Pervista full time, she then became the CEO for Wave Welcome. So we work in the same physical space, in the same office suite, but we are at opposite ends of the suite, so we can kind of have that little separation. But you know, for me, business, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, it is a 24/7 endeavor, but at the same time, I do try to make sure that I'm keeping things in perspective. If you spend too much time on anything, it's unhealthy, business included.
Okay. So, so is your wife still doing hair? And
so she has her mainstay clients. So she has some clients that she's had for decades, and she does still take care of them first thing in the morning. But it's dwindled down in terms of number. So I don't know how many clients she has now, but it's certainly not what it was when she was at the height of doing hair. So yeah, she still does a little bit, but not much.
Okay, so now her main thing, well, her side thing is Wave Welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay, so can you just tell me exactly what Wave Welcome is?
Sure. So Wave Welcome, for the easiest way to look at it is people do completely outsource their IT support to us. So we have several clients that don't have an internal IT department, and we service their IT department. So anything from supporting their day-to-day applications to standing up new laptops or setting up their phone system, we do all of that for them. So that's what Wave Welcome does. So we work with nonprofit organizations, small and medium-sized companies, universities, a little bit of government, but it's essentially outsourced IT.
Okay. All right. And now you're solely focused on AI. So we're going to get back. We're going to get back to that now. So is Pervista a government contracting firm?
Not yet, because we are still new, and there's definitely a process to make sure you have the certifications and everything that you need to. But we are working with some very interesting clients. Number one is we work with the Baltimore Orioles. We also do some work with the National School Boards Association, churches, and some other clients as well. And what we're really looking to do is to scale that widely. So we're having conversations, and we're about to move forward in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in Frankfurt, Germany, and some other international locations as well.
Okay. Oh, okay. You're doing big things. All right, brother. So, where was I going with this question?
So I see that there is.
No, I'm sorry. I know where I was going, please, because I will forget. The technology that you were saying, the reason why Pervista was born, is that sounds like proprietary information, right? Is this patented technology that you've created?
Yeah, so it's patent pending. We did submit a patent application. So we're just waiting for the disposition about whether or not that's going to be awarded. So yeah, it is completely our intellectual property, where we develop the algorithms, we develop the interfaces, all of the different things that support the technology. So yes, it is our technology, and we just want to make sure there's a bit of an intellectual moat around it, so someone couldn't come in and do the same thing we're doing the way we're doing it.
Okay. All right. And do you have, let me just talk about this for a second, because this is really good, right? When you are looking at, or small businesses who need to apply for patents and trademarks and things like that, that's working with an attorney. So is that attorney in your inside your business, like an employee of your company, or is that something that you outsource? Or
yeah, we outsource it. Yeah, I wish we were large enough to have our own patent attorney, but no, we outsource that. Yeah, so we do outsource our legal, we outsource accounting, and what am I forgetting? And Yeah, legal and accounting are the two major functions that we outsource right now.
How many employees do you have?
5 on that
Okay.
side.
Okay.
Yep,
On Pervista side.
that's right.
How many on Wave Welcome?
11 on Wave Welcome side.
Okay. Okay. All right. We're creating jobs. We're creating jobs.
It's the goal.
That's important.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping, you're gonna do well and blow up here in Prince George's County.
Yeah, I certainly hope so as well.
Okay. All right. So now, if you remember where you were getting ready to go before I stopped you, because
Oh no, I saw that there was a question about how do IT security companies look at AI and how are they keeping us safe?
that's you see it. Okay.
Yeah, I can
Where are
see
you
it.
looking at it at?
In comments.
Are
Yep.
you looking at YouTube, or this is so funny because I'm streaming everywhere. Are you looking at YouTube, Facebook?
No, I
What?
see it in the StreamYard interface.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yep.
great. All right,
Yeah,
good.
so I
Good.
do see it.
Okay.
So in terms of IT security companies, one of the things that AI is doing is really, I would say before everyone knows about Chat GPT, which is, it's the most recognizable AI application right now. And it's a large language model. There was almost overnight a shift in terms of what would happen with phishing attacks through email or phishing attempts. And because of AI, those attempts have gotten a lot better. So I would say that before Chat GPT, it
Yeah.
was easier to spot potential spam or phishing emails because things were misspelled or the terminology was a little bit off. But someone now who is in another country who doesn't speak English as their first language can now send something to you and it sounds just like an English speaker or that it's coming from someone who is not malicious. So it's a lot harder to spot those things now. So AI has made those phishing attempts a lot more effective. So that's one thing. Another that we've been hearing about this week is the deep fakes. So deep fakes are a lot more effective because of AI, and sometimes it's difficult to tell whether it's a valid email or not. So in terms of what IT security companies can do is they can certainly, I would say, develop intellectual property that's helping to detect when AI is being used. That's one thing. Another is to make sure that
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure. So if a video is coming across, there's an opportunity for companies to really be able to parse that video pixel by pixel and say whether or not it's a legitimate video or whether it was created by artificial intelligence. So there's certainly room for that because, now videos are being circulated around and people are saying it's the real thing when it's not. So there's an opportunity for people to really be able to say, okay, this is not a legitimate message, that maybe there's a tag on it to say this was generated by AI. That's one thing. Another that IT security companies could do is they could certainly put an emphasis on end user security awareness, because a lot of times vulnerabilities are created by people that have a legitimate reason for being on a network, but they click on a link in an email or they open an attachment. So just making sure that people understand what their role in cybersecurity is. So I would make sure that that's mandatory for everyone, especially the CEO, because CEOs tend to be targets. But that's something that IT security companies could do.
Okay. That's the end of your answer.
That is the end of the answer for now.
That's the end of your answer. So hopefully you got that. GCM Morris 1. Who are some of your mentors when it comes to business?
So one of my mentors is the co-founder of Motley Fool. And so his name is David Gartner. The reason I consider him to be a mentor is number one, he subscribed to something that I also believe in from a business perspective, and that's conscious capitalism. So he's the one who really exposed me to that concept. And what conscious capitalism focuses on is not just financial capital, which of course every business who is responsible is focused on making a profit. We all want to make money. We're in business to make money, but that's not the only type of capital we're focused on.
Okay.
We're also focused on natural capital, which is the environment, making sure that our footprint is not having an adverse impact on the earth. We're focused on human capital, which is people. We're also focused on social capital, which is networks. So he really has a well-rounded approach, and he is very successful. So I like the way that he has a well-rounded approach, and he's still an optimist, in spite of everything that he knows about investing and how companies operate. Another is Dan Simons, who is the co-founder of Founding Farmers, if you're familiar with that restaurant chain. Another one who is really looking at things from a balanced perspective. But one of the things I like about Dan is the
Founding
fact
Farmers, that's a restaurant?
It is a restaurant. Yep.
In DC.
They have a DC, Virginia, and Maryland as well.
They have a brunch on Sundays?
They do.
Okay, I've been there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would consider Dan to be a friend.
Okay.
And one of the things I like about Dan is that he's really focused on how mental health has an impact in terms of how your employees operate, how you operate as a leader. So those are both people that I look up to and certainly take things from in a business perspective. And they're both very successful business leaders.
Okay, so let's talk about that last point from Dan Simons.
Yep. Absolutely.
What is that? So you're talking about a company's culture.
Right.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
What's the culture like at
well, let's combine them. Let's say Wave Welcome.
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah. So the culture certainly
Pervista.
Yeah. So that is one of the tenets of conscious capitalism. So you are focused on the culture of an organization. So one of the things, and I think there's more emphasis placed on it after COVID-19, after the pandemic, people are really focused on mental health and culture and all of those different things. And before the pandemic, culture was as simple as putting donuts in the break room. But after COVID, it wasn't as simple because everyone went home and they were working remotely. So now there is more of a focus on making sure there is a work-life balance, because there was a blend between the two. When you're working from home, it's harder to have that balance because your job is in your home. So what we're trying to do at both organizations is to make sure we are accounting for the whole person, making sure that we're focused on how well people are doing, giving people a little bit of leeway if they need to go and pick up their kid early or do all of those different things. Try to make sure that we have a healthy benefits package for everyone. We do the little things like making sure we give free snacks and all of those things. We have team building activities. So anything we can think of to make sure that morale is high, we'll do it. Within reason, of course, because that is, there's a cost associated with all of it as well. But we do want to make sure that, we all have to go to work to pay the bills, but that it's a good place to come and work.
I feel like so far this month, I've been talking to a bunch of nerds on this show.
I've been called that before.
But I like nerds.
Absolutely.
Yes, because I'm having another nerd on sometime next month, and I just visited his company, and he has a ping pong table and video games and a little area in there. I love it.
We have a putting green and a pool table in our office too.
I'm playing golf too now. I'm playing golf.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we do have all of that as well. I mean, I would say that's a must now.
Wow. Yeah. So it's like, and I like the way that Andrea Harrison put it. It's like we brought Google to the East Coast.
Well, that is the goal. I mean, you can't do much better than Google, can you? I mean, that's a market mover. So we can all aspire to be Google.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you're here in Prince George's County doing this kind of work. When the mentors that you mentioned, are those people that you spent a lot of time with and they showed you, different ways you could, you know what I mean? Like how much mentoring did they give you?
Yeah, so I consider both of them to be friends. So we just go out, we talk, we go out for happy hour, we go to lunch, we hang out in social settings, and it's really bouncing ideas off each other. As a business owner, it can be very lonely, because you don't really have people on a day-to-day basis to bounce challenges off. And it can be incredibly challenging being a business owner. And I would, I joke around that people don't really know what it's like to own a business until you have to make payroll every 2 weeks. So just being able to have those conversations with people is invaluable. Another person that I would say is a business mentor is Renee Levine. I used to work for him as the CIO for Ironbow. So Renee is an incredible guy. You know, Renee Levine actually got his company to $1 billion in less than 10 years. You know, so from that perspective alone, and it's just, he's someone I look up to, you know, and I would say if you meet Renee, he really is a down-to-earth guy. You would have no idea if you didn't know he was the CEO and owner of Ironbow, that he's successful as he is. You know, so certainly looking at people like that, it's what I aspire to. So I do spend a lot of time with all three of them.
Okay. All right, cool. How do you want to pay it forward?
Well, the way that I pay it forward, and this is, I'm very active in this. I mean, I want to make sure that I'm hiring in Prince George's County. So me starting my company in Prince George's County was deliberate because I can start my company. I can move my company anywhere. And certainly when you're talking about an artificial intelligence company, it has the potential to be tremendously valuable. So I could go right across the bridge because right now we're in National Harbor. I could go right across the bridge to Virginia. I can move anywhere. But the reason I'm in Prince George's County is because there really is such a need for technology careers. So my goal, and I've said this from the beginning, is to be a large company. I don't have the goal of remaining a small business. Certainly I started as a small business, but my goal is to get to an IPO. You know, so with that being said, when you look at the opportunities that can be presented by having technology as a preferred industry in Prince George's County, it can drive up median wages across the board. It really does present opportunities for people to participate in the AI economy because there's no way around it. Whether we like it or not, whether we're uncomfortable with AI or not, it's here and it's here to stay. So to have an AI company right here in Prince George's County that's minority owned presents a tremendous opportunity. So that's really why I'm excited about the future, and I'm looking forward to being a huge part of it.
Okay, I'm excited too. I'm excited. We're glad you're here. Okay, let's just have a quick conversation about AI because I had this same conversation last week. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same. But would you say that with AI basically being here to stay, as you put it, is our economy in a crisis as a result of it?
No. As a matter of no. I mean, when you take a look at stocks like NVIDIA, that's a positive impact. NVIDIA is the computer chip that a lot of AI companies or AI technologies run on. When you take a look at what it's doing for companies like Amazon, AWS, Microsoft, Google, I mean, it's really driving the markets upward. Now, in terms of the economy, it does have the potential to leave people behind. So we do need to be aware of, you know, stocks like the ones I just mentioned. Certainly NVIDIA is one. And I'm not giving out investment advice, but I would just tell people to take a look at it.
Okay, I'm gonna write that one down. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, they just did a 10-to-1 split recently.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, certainly we need.
Is that illegal to give somebody advice and say, pick this?
I didn't say buy it. I just said take a look at it.
Okay, just take a look. I'm taking a look tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say is that we really need to make sure that we're informed in terms of what developments are coming. You know, so certainly, like I said, everyone knows about OpenAI and ChatGPT, but there's a lot more to AI than that. So no, I don't believe it's going to have an adverse impact on the economy.
But I was really talking about when it comes to jobs. That's where I was referring. Yeah, that is a part of the economy, employment.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes, it is going to shift careers, especially careers that are repeatable. So yes, those are ripe for disruption in terms of AI and automation. But it's no different from other points in history where careers went away. I mean, there was a time where lots of people in the US were working on farms. Then there was a consolidation of farms, we moved to assembly lines. Yeah, so there are those shifts that happen, you know, but at the same time, I equate it to when automobiles came along, the Model T. Right. So yeah, people were before.
I don't know what the Model T.
The Model T Ford back in the early 1900s.
Okay.
So back then, people were in horse and buggies, you know, and that's what people were doing. The cars came, and as we know, cars were here to stay, just like airplanes came to stay. So yes, careers people that were drivers for horse and carriage, yes, they had to go find another job. So same thing here. Yes, AI is here. So yes, we do need to learn about it and figure out how we can participate. Jobs are going to be different.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean the
All right.
job
Okay.
way.
Okay. And I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree. I agree with that. However, and I'm just thinking this out of my head because it's generational. I think we all agree that it's generational.
Yes.
This technology is really technical.
It is.
And it seems like it has the potential, because it's generational, it seems like it has the potential to knock off older people and really be targeting younger people, right? So people who may not even be ready, to retire, that will still need a job. That will still need jobs. How is it going to impact those people? And I'm not even talking about the people that can retire and just want to work until they die.
Right.
You know, I'm talking about people who are, 50s on up. Because I know people who are having a tough time finding a job now, and they have the knowledge base. I don't understand what's happening right now.
Yeah. So from that perspective, AI is not going to complete. There are certain things that are never going to go away. And there's a lot of value, like you said, in more senior experienced workers. So what has to happen, just like it does with ChatGPT? ChatGPT is just a tool that's sitting there, but it's not worth anything until you put inputs in.
Okay.
Until you give it a command. So if you've been working in a career, your entire employment history, that's a lot of knowledge right there. So let's say you're an attorney who's at the end of your career and you're starting to see that automation is there and that AI is disrupting the way that cases are being adjudicated. You still have to work with that platform to put certain things in so that the right thing comes out.
Okay.
So you've heard the term garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence, data analytics, automation is very much the same way.
Okay.
So there's still room for people to work with those tools to make sure that the right outputs are produced.
Okay.
So that's where the opportunity is.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love ChatGPT.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I haven't tried other platforms, but I could see myself. But see look, believe it or not, I'm 50, right? So I can see myself just trying ChatGPT and not wanting to move on to something else. Like, I'm stuck here. This is where I'm happy, and I know what to do with it. I don't have to learn anything else. I don't even have to upgrade and pay for whatever that extra level you can get to. I don't even know what it does. I'm great. Right? So if I'm there and I consider myself, I mean, I know I'm middle-aged, but, I consider myself pretty, up to date.
Yeah.
But not, if you get what I'm saying. So this is going to, I think it's going to affect as people who are older than I am, people who are in their 60s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It
And
will. It will. So here's the thing. People adopt technology at different speeds. So an example of that is you remember carrying a flip phone.
Yep.
But then guess what? The iPhone came along and changed the fact that we are no longer typing onto physical keys. We're typing on a screen now. So we all adopted that technology at some point because we were forced to. They didn't have any more phones with physical keys on them. Same thing with AI.
And yeah, okay. I was going to make a point about those flip phones because I really did like the physical buttons.
So did I. I mean,
it's easier. I mean, like, I make way more mistakes now on those flat monitors, little mini monitor screens.
But, you know, and see, using those smartphones, that was an example of where artificial intelligence was already being used, because if you start to make a mistake, it makes a suggestion in terms of what it thinks you're trying to say. So that
Yeah,
was
and
there.
sometimes that gets on my nerves because
I
I
know.
really was trying to type it. Yep,
Absolutely.
type it the way it was. Yes.
Well, yeah, you can imagine with my first name how often that gets translated into something else. Oh, did you mean Vennard? No, I meant Vennard.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, let's switch gears because we're going on an hour and I don't want to do that. What, we had our presidential debate last night. Do you have any thoughts or reactions?
Well, I mean, for me, it wasn't a surprise because I knew that I was surprised. Number one, well, I guess the biggest surprise is that Biden actually went through with the debate because I didn't expect him to.
Why?
So I knew that he wasn't capable of delivering in a debate. I just, there was no way. I just didn't think he was going to go through with it.
Because of his health or because
Well, because you look at the gradual degradation just in terms of his mobility, his speech, all of those different things. It was apparent that he couldn't get up there and debate that long, well before he went through with the debate. So my question would be, what is his camp doing? Because they've seen this behind. It's like they set him out there to be embarrassed because they've seen it behind the scenes. So shame on them. Biden is doing the best he can, but the reality is he's what, 82? I mean, and I have uncles, my grandparents are all
my mother.
Yeah. So at that point,
and my daddy.
Right. So this is the most powerful man in the world. And there are certainly people that are younger who can do a better job at this point.
I can say my parents are more mobile than he is.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're older than him.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I was looking, Dick Van Dyke was talking, he's 98 and said he still has, the way he put it, all of his marbles at 98, but he's different from Joe Biden. Joe Biden is certainly, he's not the Joe Biden he used to be, even at the beginning of the presidency.
Yeah.
So what's disheartening is the fact that in a country this large, we cannot find someone better than a 78-year-old man and an 82-year-old man. I mean, it's insulting to everyone else. And certainly it's not painting us in the best light across the world. So if we want to be taken seriously, we've got to have better candidates. And that was on display last night where, and it's been said over and over again, you have a liar and a felon, and you have someone who clearly does not have the faculties he used to have.
Yeah.
So it's sad.
I didn't even watch the whole thing because I thought it was like a crap show.
Right.
As soon as I started watching it. But I did, and I can say that I wasn't surprised by Trump's behavior. And I think those shut off mics really helped him.
Right.
And even kind of hurt a little bit our president.
Right.
However, I feel like he already lost the women's vote. I'm talking about Trump, and I'm even talking about some Republican women. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think this election is going to come down to voter turnout. So it's not necessarily that people are going to go out and vote for Trump, but they're not motivated to go out and vote for Biden, which is just as good as a vote for Trump. So it's a matter of who gets the most people to go out and vote for them. And we can see that Trump has a very motivated base.
Yeah. Okay, so really quick before we go, what advice do you have for someone who is looking to start their business or someone who's looking to take their business to the next level? And that might be two very different answers for you.
Yeah. So what I would say is that you believe in yourself. If you are convicted in your idea and you're willing to put in the hard work, go for it. Because I certainly had people that tried to dissuade me from doing what I'm doing the way that I'm doing it, and who said I was not going to be successful, who are coming around now to say, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
I said it from the beginning what I was going to do. So believe in yourself, be willing to put the hard work in, and just realize at certain points it is going to be lonely. So you have to build your network and make sure that you're reaching out where you run into trouble. But I would say absolutely go for it, but be prepared for the journey, but also be prepared for the reward as well.
Okay. And if anybody wants to find out any information about you or your company, how do they reach you?
So the best way, you can actually go to my website and reach me personally at vennardw.com. My company website is Pervista AI, and I'm very active on LinkedIn as well. So you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I do have the designation of being the only Vennard Wright in the world. So all of the good things you see are true. The bad things are not.
Are you serious? You're the only Vennard Wright in the world.
I am the only Vennard Wright in the world.
At least in. Are you serious?
No, in the world. Look, yeah, it's a fact.
Wow.
Yeah,
That makes you. That makes you truly unique. You know how they.
I know.
Truly unique. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Vennard, for coming out here with me and talking about your love affair with entrepreneurship. And we'll be talking to you soon. Okay.
All right. My pleasure. Thank you, Denise.
I want to thank Vennard Wright again. And I'd also like to get your opinions on the information presented in this video in the comment section below. I'd like to know what you think. If there was anything you agreed with or disagreed with, please leave a comment. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Love you.